Hey guys, time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. It is Monday, July 22nd. Let's talk about what happened here. We'll start with what Rafa did today. So he spent his day, for the most part, on the 59 bus. And this bus, as those of you that are regulars to the channel know, fights us at every turn. And today was not really any exception. So basically today, Rafa was working on the latch mechanisms for holding the cargo doors closed, and of course they fought him. So basically what he had to do was to get the so basically the way these work is this mechanism here moves a rod up and down. There's a rod here, you can see it sticking out there, and then there's one just like that that goes down. So when you latch it, the door latches on both the top and the bottom. Well, anyway, these rods, first off, didn't really fit inside the doors that well, so he had to do, some adjustments to get those to fit in. But then also, for whatever reason, they weren't really lining up with the holes in the body that well, either top or bottom, and I think that was true for both doors. So again, this one also has a little latch on top and bottom. Pretty much nothing lined up. So something that should have been a pretty fast job as usual with this bus ended up taking a lot longer. So for example, this hole, he kind of like opened the hole up in that direction because that was the direction which the little rod that goes down in there was off. And so he just had to basically stretch the hole until that went in. And it's one of those things where you don't want to go too far, so you kind of take your best guess at how much you need to go, maybe do a little bit less, test fit, go a little more, etc., etc. This is a very nice car, so you don't want to just go and start, grinding away and stuff haphazardly. You want to try and do pretty much the minimum to get it to work and work reliably, obviously. Not just, like, well, hey, let's just go over to here and then it'll work for sure. No, we want to kind of do the minimum. So trying to get little details like that where we're minimizing how much we have to, in this case, open little holes or whatever. And, nobody would probably notice that. So at the end of the day, it's fine, but ends up taking a lot longer than it would otherwise. So spent a long time kind of wrestling with these door mechanisms here on the cargo doors. The other thing he did, which I don't think really wrestled him any, was just basically add the striker plate here. This just hadn't been put in previously for whatever reason. So this door closes nicely now. And let's see, what else did he do? There was some like other little minor thing. Oh, I know what else he did. Again, just minor things, but put on the little lock for the gas door here. So these use something called a church key. So you swing this little cover out of the way, and then there's this little kind of square key that goes in there, and you turn it, and that allows you to open the gas door. And then there's essentially the same thing on the rear engine door. Church key, for those of you that don't know what that is. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it for today on this one. He had a slightly short day because he had some other stuff going on, but that's what he managed to accomplish today. For my part, focused on the 68, and I am going to be very glad when I'm done with the rear suspension and axles on this car, because they are just continuing to fight me. I don't know what's up with that, but really getting kind of irritating. And it's not the bus's fault, but just parts don't fit. So those of you that follow may remember that I had to do a lot of work on the axles to get the axles to actually fit in the bearings, and then I had to go and work on the housings so the bearings would fit in them. So the bearings, both the outer bearing and the inner bearing on both sides, were oversized or whatever by maybe like 3/1000 of an inch. Again, I mentioned this 3/1000 of an inch, maybe 4. Doesn't sound like much. It's about the width of a hair, but for something that's supposed to be essentially like a slip fit or something, it's like a mile. So basically, it was an interference fit. Even at 4/1000, no way it was going in. You could press it in, but it would probably honestly like destroy the bearing or make the bearing operate really poorly. It's just not. We can't accept a fit like that. So pretty much had to open up the inner diameter on both sides of this to get the bearings to be a nice slip fit into there. So yeah, it just took forever because again, it's one of those things kind of like I mentioned on the bus over there, where you don't want to just go like hog wild and open it up and then have the bearing like drop in there and be all loose and stuff. I mean, this is basically supporting the rear weight of the car where this axle goes through here. So you really want to get that slip fit where it goes in nice and precisely without any real play in there. And so it kind of takes a while to get there because again, you don't want to just go hog wild and have it drop in and kind of flopping around in there. So you got to kind of sneak up on it, you know, remove a little material, test fit, remove a little material, test fit. So that times 4, 1, 2, and then 3, 4 for the other side. Finally got all that worked out. I should back up a little bit and say that the outer bearings that I had were actually wrong, of course, because I bought outer bearings for a 68 to 70 bus, which is what this is. But as it turns out, the rear axle housings on this bus were 71 and later. And for whatever reason, Volkswagen went to a smaller outside diameter outer bearing on these. Didn't know that, went to assemble it. Of course, the bearing wasn't even close to fitting. It's different by 10 millimeters. So I made some calls and got the right bearings, and then that's when I actually had to open these up and get them to fit in there. So yeah, that was kind of my day, or at least most of it. So after I got these all together, I went ahead and assembled both of them. I discovered something else, which is that I'm missing an axle spacer. So there's a spacer that sits on the outer bearing that comes just past the grease seal here, and then the inner sort of flange of the brake drum kind of rides on that. On later buses, that flange that goes into there is built into the drum, but on the wide 5 ones, no, it's a separate little thing. Luckily, Wolfsburg West makes those. I'll have them in the morning and get this together. In the meantime, though, I went ahead and started mocking up, and this is where the thumbnail of today's video comes from. I started trying to mock this thing up and see if it's going to fit. And it's definitely going to be close. So I think, so when these, when the suspension articulates, the wheels do go a little bit on an arc kind of in this direction. Not as dramatic as on like a swing axle bug where it goes on this big arc, but the camber definitely changes a little bit through the swing. So that's going to help us when this is at ride height. The other thing that I really wanted to check for is that, and I think I might have mentioned this before, is these wheels have these cast-in ribs on them, or excuse me, not the wheels. The drums have these cast-in ribs. You can see one of them there. Those are actually interfering with the back side of the wheel. So right now the wheel is spaced probably like a good 1/4 of an inch off the drum. So in other words, the mating surface of the wheel and the mating surface of the drum, there's probably close to a 1/4 inch in there because it's being held out by those ribs. And so what I wanted to check with this mock-up was seeing whether I could just put spacers in the drums so that they wouldn't interfere with the wheels, or if I need to take the drums to a machine shop and have them turn down those ribs. Well, based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like we're going to need to take these drums to a machine shop and have them machine down those ribs so the wheel can sit in as far as possible toward the drum, because the way it's sitting right now, it's making me a little bit nervous. The inside of the fender actually has a lip too, so you can see here. So there's a certain thickness here that's not really obvious when you're looking at the bus from here. This lip actually goes in a ways, and I guess we could maybe try and roll that lip or something, but I'd rather not get into that. So yeah, the plan is we'll take these drums, we'll have them machined, have them remove those ribs, and then pretty much hope from there that this setup is going to clear. Excuse me. If not, another option is to go with a slightly narrower tire. This is a 205, 55, 17. So maybe like a 195 or something, front and back. I think these are actually the same front and back. But anyway, yeah, so we have some tricks we can do like tires. This tire It could go a little narrower, and that would definitely help with this clearance here, but I'm hoping we can use what the owner provided, but we're gonna have to get these drums machined down and then retest fit everything, cycle the suspension some and see, ensure that it's actually clearing, and then go from there. So pretty much that is it for today, guys. I should mention that tomorrow there will not be a day in the life of Vintage Classic Specialist. I won't be posting one up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm only going to be in for a little while in the morning, and it is my son's 14th birthday, so happy birthday in advance to him. And I'm taking the day off so we can go mess around at what's that place called? Knott's Berry Farm. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go to Knott's Berry Farm tomorrow for my son's birthday, so I will not be posting a video tomorrow. So I will see you guys again on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Bye.